that bad public relations problem that they have. And we shouldn't be afraid of law enforcement because they work for us.
Single family household headed by mom, no dad in the picture. I joined the Army when I was 17 with the intention of staying. I eventually made a decision to get out of the Army and go to college and finish college if I was going to get out. And I ended up being sent from Germany to Fort Lewis, Washington, which is how I ended up here. I got out of the Army here and went to British College, a 2-year program, and Central Washington had a 4-year program as a part of the British College program. And I got a 4-year degree from Central Washington University. Even though I've never been on the campus, I've always seen it on the internet, but my BA in Law Justice is from Central Washington University. I originally intended to join the Secret Service and be one of the president's men, but they just had a hard freeze and my student loans did not freeze. So I decided to test locally for a while and get a little experience in addition to my military experience and degree, figuring, okay, I'll be a shoe-in when I go to the feds. And I tested the Seattle PD and Red PD, and they cooperated on my background investigation. Seattle made an offer, and I accepted their offer, intended to only stay for a few years. And 25 years later, I'm a retired civil police officer, and I currently work on the security detail for the Burlington Municipal Court. So that's the short version of my story, where I came from and how I got here.
Well, my name is Chad Enright. I am the Kitsap County prosecutor. I grew up here in Kitsap County. I've lived here virtually my entire life. My first job was working at the Dairy Queen. That's where I met my wife. Went to the University of Washington. Took the ferry every day. Couldn't afford to pay tuition and to live over there, so I spent 4 hours a day commuting to the University of Washington. And then went to Seattle University, went to law school. And similarly, a hiring freeze changed my life because my goal, I wanted to work for the legislature. And I wanted to go down to Olympia and I wanted to write laws. And so I thought I had a summer internship with the Attorney General's office until a hiring freeze came. And so I decided to just do summer school. And that got me into taking a class on trial work, and that made me decide I wanted to be a prosecutor. I started out here in Kitsap as a public defender, and I was a public defender for 4 years. I have been in the prosecutor's office for 16 years now. One of the most important things for me is that we have people, attorneys, legal assistants, who are from Kitsap County working in Kitsap County. Any kids, there is believe it or not, there is an attorney shortage in the state of Washington right now. So if I can make a pitch to be an attorney, I will make that pitch to you guys. And anyone that I see that has a resume that says, I went to Bremerton High School, I went to Central Kitsap, I went to Olympic, I went to South Kitsap, I went to Cahuia, I went to North Kitsap, I went to Kingston. Not so much Bainbridge Island, but maybe Bainbridge Island. Guaranteed you get an interview. Can't promise you a job, but I love to see Bremerton, South kids have. That's what I love to see on people's resume, because I know you're part of this community, you know what this community is about, and that's really important to me. So, thank you.
Hello, my name is Michael Malave. I am with the City of Fife Police Department. Governor, thank you so much for having us here. It's an absolute honor to be here. I've been a police officer for 24 years. My family came here from Puerto Rico. My father was drafted during Vietnam, and he ended up, after all of that, in Fort Lewis. And so, grew up in Lakewood, Washington, and went to Clover Park High School. So pretty much grew up in Pierce County. I went to the University of Washington and majored in Spanish, and worked with ESL programs in Highline School District and School District, and did that for many years before becoming a police officer. One of the reasons I became a police officer was I remember growing up in Lakewood and just really not liking how things were. My parents were both working two jobs. My mom worked at a factory, and they always encouraged me to, if you didn't like something, be part of the change, do something. And I always had an impression of how police were, and I will never forget having police come to my house for an incident, and having my, perception changed. And then later, working with some of those same police officers that responded to my house when I was in the 6th grade. It was like a dream come true. So I'm very passionate about my job. Right now, I'm currently, I'm a patrol sergeant, but I'm also a hostage negotiator on the Metro SWAT team. I'm a peer support coordinator for the department. And I'm just happy to serve our community. And one of the things I wanted to tell you guys was, I might not be from this area, but you guys now have somebody that you can reach out to in Pierce County and talk to. And I'm more than happy to be here and talk to people. When Mr. Nehemiah came up to me earlier and asked me some questions, I was like, this is awesome. So again, thank you for letting me come and tell you a little bit about myself. I'm happy to hear about you guys. So thank you.
Good morning. It's so good to be here. Thank you, Judge Flood. I actually have had the awesome opportunity of being mentored by Judge Flood and through the Laura Miller Bar Association. And so the Laura Miller Bar Association is just a really great ecosystem for Black attorneys and judges. And it has a pipeline from high school support to LSAT prep, even mentorship while you're in law school, and then post-law school, you get to be part of an official part of the Laura Miller Bar family. But I guess my story starts. Well, my first interaction with the police, my mom was driving her boyfriend's car, and she didn't have her driver's license. We went to the grocery store, and right in front of our driveway, we got pulled over because a white woman was driving this really fancy red car with a little black girl in it. I wondered what was going on. So her boyfriend was in the Air Force, and he was out on the field, and so we got to spend a couple hours in the jail and Billings, Great Falls, Montana. And I was afraid of the police. But I also respected the Air Force and that they were officers, and my mom's male friend had lots of stripes on him, and that he was really high up in the Air Force. They told me that I could be the change that I wanted to see in the world. And when I was 16, and I wanted to be a radio disc jockey, and my dream was to be a billionaire, and I was going to make housing for felons and kids who were in foster care to reunite them. And that was my dream. And I know that sounds crazy, but that was really the dream. That's what I wanted to do when I grew up. And in some ways, that dream has manifested in lots of different ways. I would go on to Highline Community College and get my AA. I would go to Eastern Washington University and get my accredited urban and regional planning degree. And I would come back to Seattle, King County, and I would join the Community Accountability Board, where I got to work with police officers every month with people who had committed crimes that had been released, but were still under supervision and had minor violations on their parole. And instead of going back before the judge or a hearing examiner, they got to work with the Community Accountability Board. At the time, I was a landlord for low-income housing in downtown South Lake Union, managing the buildings that served 0% to 60% area median income. People with severe mental, behavioral, emotional trauma, and medical challenges, also just working for the Lakeview Apartments house mostly social workers, and the Judy Apartments house most of their clients. So it was a very interesting ecosystem where I got to learn about community. And in that space, I worked with the cops on acting. So when I would have units in my building, I had a lot of drug activity that would come into the hallway. I would call it acting. The acting would come out to my property, they would arrest the drugs and give me an opportunity to talk with my tenants about what it meant to create a safe living environment. If their activity was in my hallway, it was no longer a personal experience, it was a community experience, and thus I was involved. And thus I did learn to work closely with the police to try to keep people housed, but keep dangerous drugs out of the property. I would become a case manager for people living homeless. And that was not the first. At first, I wanted to be a developer. I was like, I'm going to build the housing. But I got offered an opportunity to apply for a job for the homelessness project, which had 5 units of. They paid for 5 housing units in the Lakeview Apartments that I managed. And I thought, I'm an urban planner. Like, I don't know anything about social work, and I don't deal with people's problems. And so, but I do value $20, and I do like to help people navigate difficult systems. And so I got the opportunity to serve as a case manager. It was a 2-year program. People got to be in rapid services, really low barrier. The only thing they had to do was meet with me, but I was really naive. I did not have their life circumstances, and I definitely didn't have their brilliance. So the thing that I learned is that everybody needs just a cheerleader as their cheerleader. And if you had to go to mental health, they're like, yeah, I'll sit in the lobby. You can bump whatever song you want on the way home, or you can cry or scream or whatever. I went to every DSH's appointments, and I just had a yellow notepad, and I just wrote everything down. And all of a sudden, nobody was on my mind, and everybody was able to go to work. So I learned really quickly that people could overcome systemic obstacles if they had somebody who really cared and did their job for A through Z and collaborated. I ended up going to law school because I cried every day because I thought, it doesn't matter if my client's perfect, it doesn't matter if they can speak 7 languages, it doesn't matter if they have crossed the Atlantic Ocean 15 times and lived in 12 different nations. They can't get through the systemic process of poverty. And the police were always a part of our community. Sometimes they caused harm, and sometimes they provided peace. I always say I care about my police because I care about de-escalation. And I don't need the police to come and blow up the spot, because I probably called them so I won't blow up the spot. So I just try to have that energy and that attitude. And I guess what I would just say to you all is you can have anything that you want. Life is amazing. Value the $20 that you have. Look at the person sitting across from you. Find a space of agreement. If you have a problem, don't decide that everything is a wash and that you're the worst thing in the world. Learn from it, put it into action, try to understand what happened, critically think about what is going on, and know that the system is full of a lot of injustices, but you can be the change. I went to law school, I became a community economic development lawyer, I got race equity, jobs advocacy fellow, I help people, help unemployed Black construction workers, all with touches to the criminal justice system. I sat in a room with organizers and we wrote what we call priority hire. Priority hire is the Black man's reparations, okay? Because it requires prevailing wage. It requires that every public works project is diverse, like our community. It is intergenerational, intersectional. It cares about youth to age. And I'll just say this about racism. Racism impacts us all. Racism hurts white men just like it hurts Black women. It just hurts us differently. And sometimes we're the wielder of it, of oppression, and sometimes we're the receiver of oppression. But there is always a moment in the day where you can balance the scale of justice, and you have to see yourselves as that. You have to see yourselves as matter, okay? And you have to see yourselves as saying, this is not okay. Say it. Say it to the person and say, when you do this, it's causing harm. And have the dialogue. Help them understand how to not be the oppressor. And when you get the power, don't become the oppressor. Because the pendulum always swings both ways. You can be good, bad, you can be good and bad in the same moment. But, if there was something good that somebody planted in you, find that thing and leave from there. Okay, because we all have something planted in us that's not good. Okay? We all can fail. But in that failure, you can be part of our solution. So those men that were in that basement with me for 2 years writing priority hire, they had failed. They had to just the criminal justice system. People told them it was never going to be nothing. They said, you have 2 strikes, if you get one more, we're going to lock you up for life. Instead of going back out on the streets, they organized. They put on their work clothes, they came ready to pee in a cup so they could pass the drug test. And they got a job on a paving project, and that changed the world for construction as we know it, because they wrote the first community workforce agreement for the LA Bay Seawall project. That created priority hire in the city of Seattle. Now we have it at the port. Sound Transit now has further enforced their project labor agreement. And now the federal government, after 15, or when was Reagan? The Reagan era, not 15, 30 years, they removed it. They removed the statement that said cities cannot require community workforce agreements on public works projects. That just happened 2 months ago. Work that happened a decade ago. So what I want to say, and I'm sorry for taking too long, but I've had a journey. I'm still in the middle of that journey, and I'm helping people take action. And I guess what I want you to know is I watched some people who were told they were nothing, change laws for themselves, and now it's impacting the nation. You can do that change too.
Thank you for sharing a little bit about your background and experience and your story. I think it's important for to be able to share it, because you never know what you may say that may impact and make a difference in a young person's or any of them that may make a change, because you're never too old to change, you're never too old to do something new, to learn something new. But I have one question for each of you, and that question, I think the mic keeps going up. The one question is, when you think about the criminal justice system and how law enforcement has changed over time and has had to adapt in the era of COVID, the increased mental health, the increased impact that we're seeing with the unhappiness and the trauma. If there was one thing that you would do if you had the budget and the unlimited amount of funds to do, what would you do? And how would you encourage young people to know that there's no limitations on themselves but them?
Well, when I like to talk about this, I try to paint a picture and kind of give you something to look at. So we'll start with this space. I've never met a person in my life that doesn't know anyone who hasn't been in jail, who hasn't been in and out of prison, who hasn't been on drugs, right? And all you want for that person that you got in your mind right now is to get it right, right? And most of the time, they give up because of the pressures from family, because of the pressures from the system, and the barriers that are in place. A lot of those barriers are proximity. You know, the barriers are so impactful that they created a word for it. It's called recidivism, right? They done made it a part of the dictionary that this is going to continue to occur. We also have to understand that this criminal justice system is based upon free labor. It's not based upon punishment. It's not based upon rehabilitation. So now that we have those pieces in place, I can tell you what we're doing, and we're going around the state with a reentry simulation, right? Where we have people like Mr. Enright and the commissioner. We create identities for them people as newly released people from prison. And then we have people who've been in the system as the core people. And they have to go around and navigate these different spaces as if they were just released from prison. And it's an exercise in empathy that is called vital. I think it's changed the lens in terms of some people. A lot of times, the courts and the prosecutors, their job is to promote and uphold justice. But a lot of times, the barriers and the way the system is written, they end up being part of those barriers by proxy. I just told the Supreme Court justices about a month ago, they were trying to figure out how can we change all of these things. And that's not to uphold those bogus laws. Because while the Supreme Court and these people up here who are more educated than me, they probably got retired. But they traded me recidivism when I was 16. So we have to address the barriers that we got control over. One of those barriers is when the person that you know that's been incarcerated, they get out. If they went back to jail, 9 times out of 10, it was for one charge. You know what that charge is? Escape from community custody. It's so blanket, they can lock them up for anything. So if we look how those things are that brush is painted, we'll understand how we can go into these type of barriers together. So, kind of where we are.
Okay, as I said earlier, I was in cell for 25 years. I like to be on patrol, but I know most of my time is on the streets, working in the Rainier Valley for people that are familiar with that area. High gang area, high drug lording area, high prostitution area. With regard to the question, specifically to law enforcement, not just with the criminal justice in general, my suggestion, if I had the power and the budget to do one thing that I think would have a substantial impact on things would be that to reduce the expectations that the public has of law enforcement. Law enforcement is expected to be doctors, lawyers, priests, counselors, school teachers. They're expected to assume a lot of roles that it would be very difficult, if not impossible, to train an individual to perform all of those roles. When I joined, I just wanted to catch bad guys. You end up doing a lot of stuff. You end up dealing with maybe fighting a guy who is on their second strike and doesn't want to go back, and you're reaching for your gun. You end up going from that to maybe the next day talking to a grandma because the neighbor keeps letting their dog go into their garden. You have to be able to make those transitions. But that's a lot of officers. Some officers, they struggle with that. The most successful ones are able to make those transitions. But I think we would get a lot more out of law enforcement and a lot more benefits in the community if we continue in the direction that it seems that we're going, where we're bringing in specialists, MHPs, mental health professionals, to deal with people that have mental health issues in play, drug counselors to address people that deal with the demons with their addiction. That would be the more appropriate direction, as opposed to the expectation to think that law enforcement coming out of back when I was in the academy, they called it the 440-hour course, can come out and address those wide range of issues. They do an okay job, of helping us navigate that. But it's not possible in the academy format with the focus having to be on learning the law, learning criminal procedure, learning control procedure, learning how to handle things on the streets. So the direction that we're going down, we're bringing in specialists, attaching departments, going out on patrol. In some cases, going out to that call instead of a patrol officer, which, while I support it, it presents some issues, because you just never know how the demeanor of a person can change in the blink of an eye. But that's stuff that we can address as the program progresses. But that would be the one thing I believe would be very effective. We just continue to bring in experts to allow law enforcement to focus on crime and patrolling their areas and helping and protecting the neighborhood from crime and criminals. With regard to what I would say to the young people about the challenges in life and like if you want to pursue a career in law enforcement or the criminal justice system. Life is always going to present you with challenges. Those challenges are never going to stop from the day you're born until the day you're done. Those challenges are going to come in the form of all things: bias, financial issues, medical issues, health issues. The best thing you can do for yourself is don't stop. You're going to fail. You're not going to do everything right. You may take 2 or 3 times to do something and to figure it out. And then what you learn from failure is not that you failed. What you learn is that didn't work. So don't stop when you face challenges. Keep going. Keep grinding. Don't give up. You are not the only one that has failed. Everyone in this room has failed at something, probably more than once. So don't give up. Thank you.
I guess I have something similar. I think we do ask police to do a lot. We ask them to be too many things. We ask them to put on too many hats. One of the, and this is a true story, we've got a case right now. This is a case, it's actually 4 cases going on for a few years, and it's a guy who is clearly mentally ill. He is schizophrenic, and he is just out kind of harassing people. People get protection orders against him. He violates those protection orders. The police get called. He gets arrested. Prosecutor gets the case. We look at it. Go, is this something the criminal justice system should be dealing with, or is this something the mental health system should be dealing with? We're going to say mental health system. But then he comes back 2, 3, 4, 5 times. At some point, as prosecutors, we say, well, the mental health system isn't there for him. The only system that is there for him is the criminal justice system. And so we charge him with a crime and get him in jail and try to keep him in jail, because when he's in jail, he's getting some treatment. But he gets out. He's out in the community. He's violating protection orders. Now, what do? That's not anything that I want to do, because what he needs is mental health treatment. What he needs is probably medication, and he's not getting that. One of the biggest impacts I think we can have on the criminal justice system and trying to get people out of it is, we got Kids at Public Health District over there. Health, getting people doctors when you need to see a doctor. You can go get one, you can go see one, you don't have to wait a year. In that year that you're waiting to see a doctor, what do people do? Well, they try to take care of things themselves as best they can. You get into drugs, you get into all sorts of trouble. So, to me, if I could wave my magic wand and have an unlimited budget, I would do just exactly that. I'd have the cops out looking for crime, taking care of crime. Doctors, mental health professionals, medics, those those other services. So you can still make an impact, I think, on the criminal justice system. You don't have to be a cop, you don't have to be a prosecutor, you can be a doctor. And I think it'll make a big difference.
If I could change one thing, I think in my 24 years, I was. Can you guys hear me okay? All right. If I could change one thing over my course of 24 years of law enforcement, I would say it would be more of this. This is the first time I've done something like this. I think it's great. I think one of the things that really changed my career and my life was having my parents being victimized. They were robbed in their home. They were victims of a home invasion, robbery. My mom was beaten pretty severely. My dad was beaten as well. He was 75 at the time, and my mother was 72. One of the things that was really painful for me and being in law enforcement at the time was them calling 911 and the dispatcher not understanding my mother because she's going to her native language of Spanish. And they didn't understand what was going on. And so they had police respond 45 minutes later. She is literally beaten, laying in the street, bleeding. And that was really painful for me. And I couldn't be mad at the department at the time. They had the resources that they had. I'll give you an example. Most people don't realize, but I come from, or I should say, I work in a small city, city of Fife. Everybody who's been in Pierce County and gone through Fife is probably going to tell me, yeah, I got a ticket one time in Fife, from a camera or whatever it may be. But one of the things that a lot of community members don't realize is there's two of us working at a time, right? So for a city of 10,000 people, there may be 2 police officers. And so when I go to a call, say a domestic violence call or a theft or whatever, people call us when they're experiencing like the worst thing in their life. They don't call us to say that, hey, my kid got a need to come over, have a piece of cake, or we got a birthday party swing by. I wish we could do those things. But when they call us, it is for the worst time in their life. And I'm there, and in 15 minutes, they are looking at me just like I looked at the police when my parents were robbed. Say, hey, I need you guys to solve this problem. And they just don't have the manpower. So looking at myself right now and saying, what is the best thing for us? Is it more police? And I'm thinking, yeah, I wish we could have more police to help out, but then I think it's been brought up several times right now with this panel. We aren't the remedy for everything. I think what we need are more partnerships like this with the community. I think mental health is a huge thing that we're called upon to work at something or to help somebody. We get a call from a community member, and I hate to tell you, but it's not against the law to have to be experiencing mental illness. I'm not going to arrest that guy for sitting at your bench, and so I become the bad guy because I'm not able to take care of that problem right away. So I think what we need are more partnerships like this. And again, I've been motivated by some of the most painful things, to have your parents beaten in the street by someone who's trying to rob them, and then realizing, hey, they didn't have anyone there that spoke Spanish at the time. So that's something I'm very proud of, that I can build that relationship with the Latino community in Fife. So I'm the department translator, but it's just one guy in a department of 30 people. We need more of that. So when I look out in the room, I see a lot of youngsters that, hey, you guys represent your community, and if just know that sometimes some of the most painful things, and again, I say this just speaking for me, some of my biggest failures, 20 years later, I can look at them and say that was probably the biggest gift that I experienced, because it made me become better. And I just didn't know it at the time. So there's been a lot of people up here that just hearing them have motivated me to keep going. All of us have something going on, and I'm not immune to that, but it's just great to hear from people in different situations, different backgrounds, live in different cities. So I would say I wish I would have had this 24 years ago, but it's never too late either. So I hope that answered your question.
I have 5 things that I would say we should do today for yesterday. So lead law enforcement assisted diversion should be fully funded at the state level across the state. Law enforcement should have the opportunity to work with strategic case management support and have that and a real pipeline for assisted diversion. I think the second thing is I used to be the person that would show up to investigate conditions of confinement cases for anybody incarcerated in our jails across Washington State. So there's a 1-800 collect line that people can call, whether they're in juvenile detention, civil detention at the detention center, or any of our prisons and jails. And the one thing that I learned really quickly is everybody's angry. Whatever happened, their ability to resolve the conflict did not go well. And it is beyond me why we do not have conflict resolution and anger management in every jail. But I learned that we don't have actually any jail oversight. And so the reentry planning that every jail is supposed to do isn't happening. And the advocates across the state are so busy playing whack-a-mole trying to get long-range wardens to stop putting people on 23 down, 1 hour out, no light, no air, and no touch to their family. The system can only heal or cause more harm. Those are the 2 options. It doesn't get to sit neutral. There is no gray matter. So we need to make sure that every single college who has a psychiatry program, a social work program, an anger management, that they are pipeline job training from our colleges to our jails and prisons are a different set, and that's it. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to talk about what I think will de-escalate and focus on kind of like the bigger issues impacting our criminal justice system and our police force. We need to have dual dispatch. It absolutely is time. I don't sit on this team, but I did actually have a safe number, and I got to be part of a de-escalation person in a mental health crisis. And I got to meet with this an officer and the SWAT team was going to come in. This was like there's mental health crisis, so I think that that's really important. And the other thing that I think that we need is we gotta create a reentry at middle of the night, drop out with no money, no place to go. Our housing doesn't allow family necessarily to let somebody in who has a recent touch the criminal justice system. That could be a cause for eviction for a whole household. So those are the other things I think we really need to do.
So thank you. And do we have any questions from the audience? Any questions for our panel members? All right, we got a question in the back.
I appreciate the presentation, and I'm very pleased to be here. My question is, since you're on the inside, particularly those of you on the inside working within the system, you spoke about the need for changes such as the mental health crew, possibly with the police, some of the other changes that you may be facing. What are you doing from the inside to make these changes? You know, for example, with the police department, you know that you need a mental health team. You say you don't have the budget to do that, but what are the possibilities? Do you push back, and how can you question that? And that's across the board in terms of just support. The example of police are expected to be all things to all people. Well, that's moral management that they took on themselves, and the ones that I think we gave them. So what are the changes that you're making to, set up that social side?
Thank you. So I think the overall question for me is, what changes are happening that meet that mental health need, and I'll hand the mic to County President.
So, let me tell you about one of the things that we're doing. One of the things that I would like to see more of is giving cops an option. That when they go and see somebody, when they get called out, that the only option to them is not to arrest them. So right now, in what we've started, right now it's the North Kitsap, and the hope is we can expand it to some other places in the county. We call it the North Kitsap Recovery Resource Center. And it is a place in Paulsville that we are trying to encourage cops. If you go and you're called out and let's say find somebody and they're in possession of drugs, you don't have to arrest them. You don't have to take them to jail. You can take them to the Recovery Resource Center. And if they are interested in treatment, we can sign them up then and there. One of the other things that we're doing with that resource center is, let's say the cop does make an arrest, and you are taken to jail, and the case goes to the prosecutor files charges, and right now it's just starting up in the Paulsville court, but we've got somebody from the resource center that is there in court, and after court, we'll drive you to the resource center. And we'll dismiss your case, we'll dismiss the charges. You sign up for treatment, you take care of that treatment, or the case is going. I know in Bremerton Municipal Court, Judge Flood has community court, we've got a drug court, and it's that same concept of trying to find when a case, when a person is in the system, how can we get them out? And what options can we give the cops to not get them into the system to begin with? That's, I guess, a small thing. It's a small start. But long term, that's the goal for me, is I want cops to have options, not just take the position.
Well, this is the first time I heard about that. I'm gonna hear more about that because all of this, my mind keeps going back to it, and this young lady just alluded to me, re-entry. Most of the people that are homeless, most of the people who have mental health challenges, most of the people who are out there on the streets, they've been to jail before. A lot of the mental health people and cases are people that got tripped up on drugs because of what they put in the drugs now. They had a bad trip. So all this centers around re-entry. 75% of the population is living, having been convicted of a crime before. This is massive, and this is about money making. So I agree it takes a culmination of all of these things that everybody talked about, but it all starts around re-entry, because most of them people coming home one day. And how do we prepare for them?
So, if there's no more questions, I want to keep us on track. I'm going to allow for one more question, and then we're going to transition to the strategies games, because we want to get the kids up and moving.
Well, we have the kids up and moving because we got 3 years to move. Just a little bit of context. I'm asking this from the perspective of employment. My personal experience, I work for one of the biggest companies in the world, Apple's in Seattle, and I built and managed the background check screening and drug test program. And when we started, it was a lot about keeping what we thought was security in the sense that we wanted to really closely manage criminal backgrounds, because the belief or perception that previous criminal history would lead to possible future life decisions on the list. As I got older in the job and started to learn more, I realized that that mechanism was really rooted in the criminal justice system and how it expressed itself to individuals, and then what their barriers were to coming to work. And so we were in control of what we looked at, what we decided would be okay or not to be so clear to come to work. And we began moving up the continuum to allow basically more and more what we discovered in criminal history to be okay with coming back to work, because we realized that, to Daryl's ear points, people who had that experience who got, and remember this is they passed an interview, it's a pre-employment background check, but it's post-offer. So we've already determined their everything they've done in the interview, their background experience, they're ready to come to work. It's just one thing. And when we discovered things, we started getting to the point where we said, or where I was going with that is people who had that experience, we started to realize, and just in my small team, that that person is going to be more effective, more valuable in the workplace. Because when they get that job, and it was good things, it was Amazon, so surprise. But same with one about what they did in the community, a lot of times their pay was double minimum wage or triple minimum wage. There was benefits to be had, sometimes stock equity to be had. And what we determined was, most of the time, it's a stereotype, but it's a positive one, that if you have that experience, and you got this job, like, you did not want to go back, you wanted to keep that job, and they were going to work very hard to do it, and became top performers, and we saw that all the time. All of that is the preface to the question, in whichever way you would like to answer it, but I'd love to hear, kind of, we come back to people re-entering the workforce, preparing opportunities. Mental health, of course, being an aspect, but when a person's getting back on their feet, talk a little bit about where we want to take it, just how to think about bringing people back to work, rehabilitation, employment opportunities, how we think about as private employers through legislation around using criminal history. We have down the box legislation, a lot of things around employment law and human resources screening, but I'd love to hear your collective thoughts on how do we think about improving these in the place for employment, so we're giving opportunities to people who need them and who are really going to contribute to our economy and to their job performance.
That was a compound question 2 times over, so I'm going to hand that to Lloyd.
No, I love that. So for a long time, my question is housing or employment first, right? And so housing was my passion, and it was what brought me to school and kind of questions. I ended up being an employment attorney, a civil rights employment attorney. My best work, my most important work is probably in trying to create rights and opportunities to ensure our laws are enforced. And so what I would say is important is with employers is really be thinking about what are you really needing in your workplace, right? And how are you, and then I think there needs to be the pipeline, right? And so when I think about reentry planning for jails, there's a really good opportunity because people are in a place where they're or a recovery center, or even just in their housing when they're expressing crisis at the case management level, is what is the thing that you are inspired to do before you tell yourself, no, that's not possible, right? And then it's literally that networking. And I think the resources that need to be put into place are these job training, apprenticeship utilization stuff for public works and for the tech industry need to be within our schools. They also need to be a conduit from our jails into our community, or Highline colleges, or South Seattle College, or Kids Out Community College, those spaces, because then they are feeders into the universities. And so even if the person doesn't go over, doesn't need to get the 4-year degree, if they can get the 2-year coding, if they can get some opportunity to be in a space where they're dreaming to be in, that is the preference of anyone with a touch of the criminal justice system is at a point gonna have to think about how they're gonna make their money, right? Whether you were a billionaire and you did something fraudulent, or you stole from your employer a candy bar, right? Like the moment you don't have a job and you're arrested, life changes. And so where are those moments? I say in housing, I would say housing has to come first. And I say that if people can learn how to resolve the conflict where it relates to the connection between their health, their financial crisis, their family crisis, and habitability or accessibility in their housing, they have less touches to the criminal justice system. Not that they can't almost be there, but if we have more services in the moment where people can call, you could really call 211. feel like I'm having this crisis, and it really connects you to an advocate, right? And if we had this idea that just because I needed services for 8 months doesn't mean I need them for 8 years. So we say we need more permanent supportive housing to handle people with addiction. Well, people are living with addiction and thriving all across our community. It's only the poor people who are being seen in their addiction. So, like, we need to kind of come out from that and be like, if I'm living in housing and I'm having a mental health, substance abuse addiction, how do I get into a pipeline to get case management services while I'm still housed? You know, because if it's eviction is met with the sheriff's office comes to your door to evict somebody, and then you pipeline to the coordinated entry, which has more likely more touches to behavioral issues or to having some issue in the business district. I hope I answered that question, but I did.
To your point, I think we have to look at that because qualified people,
These people that have to take the firefighter's exam, these people have to take the EMT exam and go with the same qualifications, but when they get out, they can't get the job because they got a felony because of some of the things you mentioned. I think it's important that we tap into those people who are getting ready to get released 6 to 9 months prior and start really working on reentry. Because I don't know nobody standing at the gate getting ready to go home, rubbing their hands together saying, I'm going to go out here and screw up. Right? Most people want an opportunity, man. And that's what reparations are to them, opportunity. So I thank you for the question.
And I'll have the final comment before we transition to our strategies next game. The challenge that we face in our criminal justice system as a whole is the fact that it's a reputation. That's the plain truth. There will always be good, there will always be evil. But what do we do to improve that? And Chad mentioned the Burns Medicine Court having our community court, therapeutic court, which we address both substance and mental health. But I also added into that intentionally a resource component because they need resources. So we have a resource fair quarterly, and from that resource fair, I had one participant to get housing. One participant was able to get his treatment set up by coming to that resource fair. And we've got 3 participants that are gainfully employed. That's major, because connecting them back in community is where we want them to be so that they can stop coming back into our system. It's not perfect, but it's a way of being in the system and treating the whole person. Not talking at them, but talking to them, seeing them. And not everybody thinks that that's a good way to go. But it's a national recognized way of doing court differently. That being said, thank you, panel members. Thank you. Thank you, panel members. So we're going to transition now. If you look into your bags, all of you people should have bags. In your bags is at what age can you legally? It's our strategies for youth. Next, game, hands-on. Okay. I'm going to give you all a few minutes to kind of take a look at that. Stand up, shake your legs out. No, if the kids got bored with that conversation. Shake it off, get some sugar. Plenty of it on the tables. Take it with you. You're gonna be ready to answer the questions. be able to get you a prize from the giveaway table. So, and also those who have, if you've reached blackout bingo, if you black out bingo, you've reached that blackout, he got him a prize, that help, all right? Okay. There's different prizes for the strategies game. So, all right, so we have the strategies game. It sounds like mostly everybody has gotten that complete. Sounds like we're pretty close to having that done, and we're gonna go over that next. So for the strategies from you at the legal game, those that participate in this game, I've got a couple of gift cards to give away. So, I have gift cards. I have gift cards. Okay, all right. I think I'm hearing from everybody that they're ready for the strategies age game. Okay, so gather back around. Okay, so there's gonna be 4 opportunities for prizes. We got line 1, line 2, line 3, and line 4. Okay, now, it says, at what age can you legally, and the first line has, buy cigarettes, purchase drink alcohol, and be sent to adult court. So, raise your hand. Who wants to answer? Who's got the answer? So, Mr. Tell me. Okay. So his answer for buy cigarettes and smoking is 18. How many got that? 3. Okay. For purchase and drink alcohol is 21. For being sent to adult court,
14.
It depends on the crime that you do. If it's a serious crime like homicide or murder, then you will send be sent to adult court. If it's a minor, then like for instance trespassing, you will be sent to
Juvenile court.
great answers. Okay, we have a gift card for you. Thank you for participating. Next, it's get a driving permit, get a driver's license, rent a car. Who's ready? All right. Okay, 15 for getting a driver's permit, getting a driver's license, 16, renting a car, 18. Don't know about that one. Let's get, what is it, a lifeline? We want a lifeline, we want a lifeline, lifeline. It's possible that rental car companies may rent you at 18, but there's also a caveat. Do you have that answer? 21. All right. What do you think? Okay, all right. Okay, what's the consensus in the room? 18 or 21? What is the answer? 25. Okay, all right. So, most rental car companies will tell you that they want you to be 25 to rent a car. And that's kind of something that happened over time with the liabilities that come with driving a vehicle. So, next line, consent to sex, stop going to school, and vote in an election. Who wants that? Go with that. Okay. What do we got? I'm gonna bring the mic over because I got begins.
21, like 25, and then also 24.
I'm gonna tell you the line that we're on again. The line that we're on is consent to sex. You know that? Okay. And then so it's guns. Okay, I'm gonna let him say it again because he said I know what I'm.
21, 25, and 24.
Well. Those are rules, and there you go. Okay. I'm not messing with that. Okay.
That would be 18. And South County School is 18 also. And open lunch would also be 18.
So I'm gonna give out 2 prizes on that one because he said in this house, he knows the rules. And let's see. We're gonna do the gift review. Those are rules. Okay, take it. All right. Okay. Okay, and our last one is what age can you legally have a gun, have ammo, and own a hunting rifle? Who wants to take that one? Okay. All right, let's go to 2 hands. All 2 hands at the same time. That's all 2 hands. And wait. And then I saw a no hand and they were pointing. So I'm going to go all the way around. All right. They put you on the spot. They said you don't answer. Okay. What you got written down there? For having done 18. 21. 18, and 21. What you got?
20, 20, and 20.
Twenty-one.
21.
Okay, all right.
You thinking of the song?
18, 18, and 18.
Dun, 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 dun.
21, 18, 21.
Oh,
He mixed it up.
yeah.
All right. Any adults want to tell the answer? I'll see. That's a tricky one. That is really a tricky one.
18. 18.
She mixed it up too.
Somebody look at Google. Let's ask the law enforcement specialist in the room. All right. Come on over, Mr. Mike. You just came in just in time. So the question on the floor is, how can you legally have a gun, have ammo, and own a hunting rifle?
To purchase, they've had some changes here in Washington, but I believe I know for a pistol, it's 21 years old. And then for a hunting rifle, so let's say for instance, I want to take my daughter hunting.
16.
She's 12, 13 years old. I can purchase the firearm, she can come with me and use that.
What?
So,
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Wow, I did. Yeah.
Wow.
So right, we're talking, so we're not, so when they say like assault style rifles, we have a ban here in Washington State, so, that, we're talking, and I hate to say this, but like maybe your grandpa had an old like hunting rifle with a scope, you're like deer hunting, and, it's, I would say where I work, it's not very common, but if you go out in the rural areas, like say eastern Washington, there's a lot of young kids that are hunting with their parents and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not uncommon for you to see that. So and it can be something too where a family member passed it on to them from like say your grandfather passed away or something like that. They can pass it on in their name. So does that help?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Ammo is different too.
So ammunition, depending on what kind of ammunition it is, you go to certain stores and they ask for like a license, but typically at like 18 you can buy ammunition.
Okay. What about the other one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then we talked about having a gun. That's 18. Have a gun.
Yes, well, so for a pistol, it's 21 years old. So,
A regular gun. Okay.
So, yep.
Wow.
Yep. And I think that if you remember and recall in the media, when they have the areas where they're saying that the parents should now be punished because they did certain things with getting them a gun and all of this.
What does that have on the basis of private property?
Oh. Jeez.
The law is the law. whether you're on private property or public property, when it comes to the age in which you legally have some. But the distinction being made that if it's a rifle or if it's something that's being passed down generationally or something like that, that's when you have the leeway where it's kind of a number. I mean, great grandbaby. Different category, different, it seemed different. Not bad. The laws.
Did you want to did you get a t-shirt?
Okay, let's see. All right, let's see. So that gets us through our strategies for youth. If there any more questions about those age categories and what we can do, what we can't do? And if you learned something new today, if you learned something new today about what you can legally do and what you can't legally do as far as your age.
Oh no, I was just saying I learned something.
You learned something?
I learned something.
All right, I'm trying to pass the mic.
That didn't work.
So we're gonna stretch. We have some food and some snacks and have some pizza now if you're really hungry. We did also have some pizza, and then so we're gonna do go back to your blackout bingo. If you haven't completed your blackout bingo, now is the time to do that during our lunch break here, and then we're gonna have a couple more speakers for you, and then we're gonna do our juvenile justice Jeopardy game. I'm gonna cue that up for you so you guys can get ready to get excited. And I would, for the juvenile justice Jeopardy game, I need for you to be in teams. See, we got sound effects and everything. Okay. So we've got some kind of going into the second half. Some have just arrived, and again, now is the time to do the blackout bingo. If you didn't complete the blackout bingo, now's the time to go around and get your conversations going on the blackout bingo. We still have some law enforcement here.
I'm gonna just
Earlier
have
students
little
have to
kids
leave,
come,
but
and
there's still enough adults and people in the room where you should
Well, I'm
be able to
just
get
gonna
blackout
have-
bingo. There's
too
also
much
some
to
t-shirts that you
I was just
can,
taking off the thing.
that are here for you to take with you. So there's some t-shirts over there.
It's easier for them
There's
to come.
posters around from the Minority and Justice Commission, which is one of our sponsors. You can get some of those posters. And we're thankful for the NAACP Bremerton. President Robert Harris is with us today, one of our sponsors. Working the table there on the food, and working the table over here on the t-shirts, working. And then we have the Tacoma chapter of our Links Incorporated. Our sisters around here in green, they're here to help you with the blackout bingo. They're out at the desk, they're around in the green. So services of youth and our other facets and our chapter representation. Our president was here, I think she had to leave. Unless I'm missing her, but Linda Hines Wilson, president of the Tacoma chapter, was here. So we're thankful for all of you that come out. And then we've got will be hearing from our fire department this afternoon, and a couple of panel speakers really quickly, and then we'll get into our juvenile justice Jeopardy game, where you think the strategies for the game was fun. Wait till you hear these questions.
It's your first time? Like it? What's your name?
Okay.
And you're in the.
Hey, tell us where you're from and what you're here for, how you're going to help the kids. Tell us your name.
Hi everyone, my name is Erica Hueras. I work for the Kids at Public Health District. We've got a table here. It's great to be out hearing people's stories, connecting with our young people. At our table, we have a lot of resources around mental health, how to take care of yourself, how to do some self-care. There's no age limit, so kids all the way up to adults and elders can use some of this information. It's never too late to learn a self-care strategy or two. We've got COVID tests. We can answer any questions you have about health. Yeah, come by, ask any questions. We're grateful to be here.
Thank you. Okay.
That back to you.
Thanks
Thanks
so
so much.
much. All right. Thank you.
Hey, I'm in the replay. Oh no.
All right, right here.
Yes.
All right, tell us your name and how you're here to contribute.
Okay, I'm Sergeant Mike Malaga. I'm with the Fife Police Department in Pierce County. I was just asked a couple of days ago to be here and just give a law enforcement perspective. I know this is in Bremerton, but again, we're serving our community just like the police officers here in Bremerton. So Judge Flood reached out to me, and I'm just happy to be here and answer any questions from the public.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll be happy to talk to you again later on.
Yeah, no, if you could. So I came like I said up there. I've never been to one of these.
Oh,
I'm not a public speaker guy or whatever, but I'm like, oh, this sounds kind of cool. So I had business cards, but I left them.
Oh, it's okay.
But yeah, if you wanna, can you email it to me?
Yes.
There, yeah, if you got a picture or something.
Can we get you to say something real quick?
Yes.
Just tell us who you are, who you're with, and how did you come to get here?
Okay.
Oh, his job never ends. He gotta sign some stuff real quick.
Okay, Alicia, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Are you planning on coming back next year?
I think so, yeah.
Like it? All right, good to meet you. Thank you. Give us your name, please. And what did you like about it?
So, just tell us your name and why you come and what you learned.
What have you learned so far?
About the pages for a lot of the things I'm recording, like getting smart and protecting yourself with very important. A little more.
Glad that you're enjoying it. You have fun. Enjoy yourself and have fun. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for giving us that interview. And your name again? All right, Nehemiah. All right. All right. Here you go. Hi, I'm Alicia Charles with the Conduit, and we are just here. Oh. Yes, media company. Can you tell us what inspired your name and what inspired you to come here?
Hi, my name is Royce. I came today, well, primarily I wasn't aware of this event. I'm here because I work here at Williams Center on a weekly basis with a Saturday STEM school. We're instructors in the Saturday STEM school. And this activity that we used to have at the announcement police pay attention.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on down. We got plenty of refreshments, everyone. Come down to the Marvin Williams Center. They're handing out T-shirts. We got drinks and having some games going on. Yes.
Okay. Hopefully everybody's got some food and some refreshments. All right.
Time here at the Marvin Williams Center.
Let's have the background.
It looks like we're about to start again.
For the Jeopardy. Okay. And this afternoon, we have our representative from the fire department here. Yeah, we're gonna hear some.
Yeah, wait. Yes, you got the camera going on?
From our fire representative, we're gonna hear from Mr. Peter Stein.
Okay.
He said, uh-oh. So, and then we're gonna start our juvenile justice Jeopardy game. So, I'm gonna have get ready to gear up, gear up. Suit up. Alrighty. And I have one more person. Did he disappear? Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon. We're live down here at Marvin Williams Center for our second annual Youth Law Forum. We've had a wonderful morning of games that we're continuing to play back our window. This afternoon, we're going to enter our juvenile justice Jeopardy game. Still the permanent, we're ready to get the final team. Still ways, still here. Gift cards, prizes, and Get the bag. Please. Closest for the minority justice commission, our sponsors, will be our hosts. Come on down and join in the fun that we're having here. Thank you. Just Tracy Flood out.
Thank you, sis.
Right. Okay, just a reminder, we've got t-shirts over here, we've got the Kids at Public Health District hanging out with us down here. They've got lots of valuable information on equity and things that you may need. So don't be afraid to go over and talk with Miss Erica. She's hanging out with us and has been very helpful, very appreciative for you being here today with us. So, all right, okay, so we're gonna have our next three people come up and have some conversation. Now, okay, so you're up. Stage, to the 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 stage. All right. Go to the stage. Oh, you won't be alone. Come on up. We have our next panel members. We're gonna have, again, a quick conversation during our lunch talk, and then think about your teams. I can set it up for 3 teams. There isn't a set number. I can set it up for 4 teams to play. Okay, that's what chicken works. Right? Okay. Come on up. Yes. So, all righty. I'm gonna pass the mic and have our afternoon panel introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about them and their background and experience. Woo.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Famous Taylor Jr. I am the therapeutic coordinator at the Greenwood Municipal Court, where Judge Tracy Flood is a judge. A little bit about my background. When I was in elementary school, I was diagnosed as, I guess this is special education. And back then, I don't know if they still do today, but back then, if you were special education, they used to see you to school on this little short bus, right? So everybody knew that you were special education.
All right, yeah.
And so one day, our teachers asked us, they said, "Hey, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "I want to be a doctor." And she said to me, "Well, you're in special education, so that's not a realistic goal for you. There's a car wash, you don't get a job at car wash." And so from that moment, I disengaged from school. Said, "Hey, if I can't be a doctor, and I just became a bully. I only went to school to eat lunch because we didn't have any food at home. So I went there to eat and fight and be disruptive in any way that I could." And so at a certain point, I got to high school. I was failing every class. I wasn't doing anything. So the principal said, "Hey, you might as well just go ahead and stop wasting your time on the time and I'll come back." So I did that. I left high school. I was like 15 years old. And that was it for me. I was just out there in the streets, living the street life. And then I started having kids, and telling my kids, and even though I didn't have an education, I always tell my kids, you gotta get education, Just because I saw that people who had education were living a much better life than what I was living, all right? And then one day, my kid asked me, one of my sons asked me, he said, "Well, Dad, what college did you graduate from?" And I didn't graduate from high school. Here my kid was asking me what college did I graduate from. And in that moment, I knew I had to go to college because I didn't want to be telling him to do something that I didn't do. Right? I have a high school diploma. So I go back to school and they say, "Well, you want a high school diploma, you got to go back to the classroom with high school students." So I did that as a grown man. I went to high school kids, and got my high school diploma. And there were barriers in the way because I was told, like, I had a job at the time, and so when I got there, the guy said, you must be here for a court. And I was, and he said, and so just because he thought I was there for a court, he treated me differently. But I was determined to get through that process. And from that, I went to college and I graduated. And so what I would say to everybody is that something nobody ever told me is that you can be anything you want to be. You know, you can go from being a special ed student to being a therapy coordinator. And I think the message here for everybody that you heard today is never give up. That's what it is. I've failed so many times in life, but I've always had an opportunity to try again. So that's what really being an adult is all about. It's never giving up. Thank you.
That's a pretty amazing story. Perseverance. That's amazing. My name is John Payne. I'm the assistant fire chief at the Fire Department. I work right there across the street from the stage. My story is a little different. I grew up a Navy brat. My father was a career military man. We started off on the East Coast where I was born and moved around the United States. We moved up to Washington. I grew up primarily in San Diego. My father was a fighter pilot. He actually did most of the flying for the Top Gun movies, the original Top Gun. You see planes flying. My dad's a pilot then, so that's my claim to fame. After he finished flying, he got put on the Nimitz, and the Nimitz came up to Puget Sound for the time. All of a sudden, between my freshman and sophomore years in high school, I moved up here and fell in love with it. And I just stayed after my father's career took me back down to Alameda. I stayed for a year. I graduated from North Kitsap High School and started going to Olympic College because I didn't know what I wanted to do as a career. I was not a good student in high school. I graduated. I graduated because I needed to maintain a 2.0 and play sports. That was my parents' rule. So I was right up at 2.0. I didn't put in much effort. I did just enough to get by. And then when I got to college, I realized I was not prepared for college academics. And I continued my high school ways of not studying very much, so I had a lot of free time on my hands. Still living at home, and I realized I needed something to do with my time. There was a volunteer fire station down the street, so I went down there and I got a good way to spend some of my non-studying time, which was a lot of time. And fell in love with it. Just fell in love with what being a firefighter was about, and that's when I realized this is what I want to do. And I ended up going back to college a couple of years later, and now that I had a focus and I knew what it was I wanted to do, suddenly my grades were very good because I was willing to put in the effort to learn what I wanted to learn to be successful in life. It was something I enjoyed doing. And I hired here at Burlington as a paramedic. I graduated from Tacoma Community College with a paramedic certificate. And I've been living up to fire for 31 years now, where I was a paramedic for the first 15 paramedic firefighter, and then moved up to the ranks to my current position. One of the things that we're experiencing in the fire service right now is nationwide, there's a massive shortage of people who want to be paramedics. Like right now, we're missing 3 paramedics. We have 3 empty paramedic spots. There is nobody applying. And that's not just in Burlington, that's across the country. There's a massive shortage of people wanting to be paramedics. And there's a massive shortage of minorities and women in the fire service. We keep saying we want to reflect the community that we work with. We have a picture on the wall of when you come in the front door of all of our employees. We do not reflect the city of Burlington right now. That's because we get the people that live in the city to apply to work here. So my main message is for anybody who has an interest in medicine, consider paramedicine as an option. Work in your hometown, get back to your community, and in a great and positive way in a really good environment.
How y'all doing? I'm sorry. How y'all doing? Okay, cool. I drove here from Seattle. I went from Brainbridge to Seattle with a damn phone. So I'm very happy to be here. So one more time. How y'all doing? Good. My name is Deontay Amber. I wear many hats. I am currently the LGBTQ chair for the NAACP State Area Conference, so that's Alaska, Oregon, Washington. Please give it up for them. Because that's 120 year history, they never prioritized the LGBTQ community in the areas of advocacy, let alone with the chair seat and with the NAACP Seattle County. I was the first of their kind, and now the first within their seat. Now there's other seats that are opening around. And it is, what I can say is a lot of that, of how I got to that point was, how I got to where I am today is because of some of the things that may have looked like setups or setbacks. In 2013, I was diagnosed with HIV. And there was never really anyone that looked like me that I'd ever seen make it out of that. There was no discussions about HIV in my community. It was just more so stigma conversations. But I took what I learned through my training and became a peer mentor and started assisting community members with that same lived experience. With what I have, I was able to navigate community members all throughout the state, which then had me working within the Department of Corrections and helping community members through the areas of reentry. Currently now, I work for an organization called Voice of Community Activists and Leaders Washington, also known as Local WA, where we're assisting community members in policy change with community members that have been impacted by HIV, substance use, mass incarceration, and homelessness. And all of those titles might be great, but one more thing that is also one of my greatest accomplishments is I'm a person of recovery. I've been clean for 3 years for methamphetamine. And a lot of that recovery was not me just being clean, or being clean of drugs. Recovery was recovering from the stigma. Recovery was me embracing my community. And when I say embracing my community, a lot of us go through family trauma and having to be able to talk through that. But recovery is when you are able to love and build with your community. And I can elaborate more later on this.
Thank you. So I'm going to pose a couple of questions so that we can just have a little bit of conversation here. The reason for our gathering here is educating our community, educating our young people, building trust, building community. And in all of your backgrounds and experiences, Julie, what advice would you give to your younger self? If you knew what you know now back then, what would you do differently? What advice would you give to your younger self and your
the advice I would give to my younger self would be, don't waste time, right? I think that when you're young, you have this idea that time is forever, And so you say, tomorrow, I'm gonna do that. Next year, I'm gonna do that. And then you get old and you realize, I don't have time. So I would tell you, take advantage of your time. Don't waste it. Don't blink it. My son, I remember he was born, he was like this big, that was like yesterday. And now he's almost as big as I am, right? Just like that. So don't blink, don't waste a second of your time. Chase your dreams. You can be anything you want to be. There's nothing too big for you, right? Don't let anybody put limitations on your life. Because putting a limitation on your life means that they put a limitation on your time. Don't waste it. Famous don't waste time.
I've thought about this a lot over the years, and can I think about all the decisions that I've made in my life and look back, if I changed that one, maybe I would have done this one, if I changed that one. The reality is, I would always want to end up here. I love where I'm at. I love my life. I love my career. I love everything I have. So I think if I was to look back at my younger self, I'd tell myself that it's okay. You're going to be okay. Even after every mistake you make, you fail a class, which I did a few times, you get in deep trouble at home, it's okay. Just keep improving, keep being a good person and learning from your mistakes. There's something we see when we hire people, one of the questions we ask is talk about a mistake that you made in your life and when we were interviewing people. And one of the things I always try to emphasize to them is there's a difference between a mistake and a failure. A mistake is something you do and then you learn a lesson from it. That's a mistake. A failure is you make a mistake and do not take away the juice from that mistake and take away the lesson that comes from making that mistake. So mistakes are okay. And so I think I just told myself that you're okay. Just keep doing the right things. You will get through those hard times and come out a good person.
Well, one of the things that I would tell my high school self is don't wear that peach suit to prom, because you're going to look back at it and not like it. But I used to look back and be like, oh, it's sorry, being in church too, so I'm kind of this religious aspect. Like, oh, why are my troubles so high? Well, why are my waters so high? And why do I have to go through this? And why do I? And you know, God makes your waters so like some of your enemies can't swim.
Amen.
And I mean that because, you know, at the end of the day, we are in a space of community, and sometimes there are very many people in communities that will not look at some of the things that you're doing in the areas of your leadership and tell people that it should not be you. And I say that to myself on a daily basis to encourage myself to keep on going, to show up in every room and advocate for be unapologetic when I'm advocating for Black and brown people, be unapologetic when I'm advocating for my community folks in recovery, be unapologetic when I'm looking to find police accountability. I can still be able to advocate for that because there's many folks that will tell people that you should not be in the room. But you gotta keep on swimming so that the waters won't be high for the next person. So thank you.
Okay. I'm gonna do a time check. Okay. We have time for one more question and then game time. So now that you've given your younger self advice, what advice would you give yourself, your future self? And I want you to think of it from the standpoint of the future is uncertain. Money is not an issue. In the future, you're speaking to your future self. Somebody gonna hit the lotto this year, but all of us not.
Check my ticket.
But not thinking about those limitations. What advice would you give?
You know, the beautiful thing about my wife, and I just had this conversation the other day, I've been blessed to do everything that I wanted to do in my life. Anything that I've set my life to, I've done it, right? I said, hey, I want to go to college. When I graduated high school, I did. When I go to college, I did it multiple times. That's the time I was graduating. Any job I've ever said I wanted to do, I've gotten it. Everything I ever wanted to do in life. So I want to take my time to talk about the future, and I want to just talk about Judge Floyd. Every day I watch Judge Floyd be crucified for trying to change this community for the better, right? I know we see a lot of things in the paper. I work at preventive municipal court every day. I can tell you it's not true. None of what you read in the paper is true.
None.
Right?
None.
She is being crucified for trying to bring about change to people who like things exactly the way that they are. Period. And I'm telling you, I'm tired of watching her fight just by herself. She put on programs like this, and we don't need to support it. And nobody else is putting on programs like this for our children. We got an NAACP, got all these organizations that all need to stand up and stand behind Judge Flood, scream it, shout it, talk about it, because the other side is so vocal. They're so vocal, and what they say is not true. I watch court staff talk about her and disrespect her every opportunity they get. And she shows up every day with a smile on her face. I've been in this field for 30 years, and I've never seen prosecutors or attorneys disrespect a sitting judge the way I watch these prosecutors and attorneys disrespect Judge Flood. So if I could tell my future self anything, it would be we need to stand up and fight. Right? Because when she's gone, you're going to get what they had before. Right? We talked earlier about community court and therapeutic court and mental health and substance abuse. Right? We talked about that. And we talked real good about it. But you can't have that without support. Right? You can't do that without support. She has no support now. So when your kid get in trouble and they go in front of one of their judges, well, they go to jail. Because they send everybody in this community to jail for every little thing. Everything. So I want to see everybody in this room to stop being silent. Stop reading the articles. Stop coming into the Zoom and see what they say. But support this judge because I'm telling you, there is nothing true about what they say. Nothing true. And that's my time. I'm not politically correct, everybody. So I'm not that person. So stand up for Judge Flood. So in my future, I'm gonna stand up for Judge Flood. That's my future.
That's pretty good. I didn't get to see Judge Flood in the courtroom. I just get to sit in meetings with her. I can attest to one part at least. She's almost the most positive person in the meeting. She brings in energy and ideas, and we do public safety meetings together at least every month. And she always comes in positive with new ideas. I love you too, Judge Flood. You're doing great. Stay strong. I think if I was to talk to my future self, and it's one of the things I ask my officers in my evaluation with them is, who are you preparing to take your spot? Are you just happy in your position? Because you're temporary. I'm temporary. We're all temporary here. Who are you preparing to take your spot? So I think the question to ask myself when I'm finally out of the profession and just kind of looking back in my life is, did I make the pathway easier for others to come behind me? Did I show them the way that I blaze a trail that makes it easier for other people to come in and be more successful and not fall in the same potholes I fell in along my way?
Piggyback off of you. In 2020, I chose to run for president of the NAACP. And I went through a lot because there were folks that did not want to pass this one. And being an openly queer person in a great organization that usually leads towards religious aspects for positions rather than the inclusiveness, it was really, really hard. Most of the elders did not believe in what could happen next, but there was only one person that reached out to me, and said, what do you need? You know, all of those things, and I'm gonna read a message that she wrote. You did an amazing job running for parish president. Don't give up, stay involved. You have a bright future, you are destined for greatness. And that was you. And I thank you for that. And throughout those times, of course, as always, when we talk to social media and all of those, but when she called me to come here, I knew immediately. I just finished hosting one of the biggest public safety gun violence conferences in the country, and I knew I had to come here this morning. Because I could be destined for greatness. If I'm not standing by the ones that were with me in my darkest spaces, then the greatness don't mean anything. Church don't mean anything. But what I mean, the point that I'm trying to get to is if I can tell my future self anything, it's honor Sankofa, look back, go forward. And with that being said, Tracy, I'll look back and go forward with you anywhere. Thank you.
questions.
That's what you get. She up there blushing and crying.
So,
That's what you get.
Do we have any questions from the audience? Any questions from the audience for our panel members? Oh, we got a question. Yes. How can we show up and help you help the community? It's
As a person that has to work within the system as well, the people that talk to your elected officials the most have the most power. And that can be a vocal minority, but if that's all they're hearing, then that's the action they're gonna take. So one step is just to go to whatever city council people represent your council district and voice your opinions to them, because that's who they're gonna listen to. So that would be the first step.
So, as you know, Bremerton Municipal Court is the court for the city of Bremerton. We are court of limited jurisdiction, but we're the only full-time municipal court in our county. I'm in court Monday through Friday. On the weekends, I address probable cause. So, my day-to-day is 24/7. I'm always on. So everything that I do, everything who I am, is no longer hi Tracy, it's Judge. The support that is truly needed is those to show up, as you said, at city council, because even at city council, there's this negative energy that's put out, this negative messaging, because they don't hear the positive. The paper won't print the positive. They won't come here and show them that they won't talk about that we've reached consistently over 100 people at our community resources fairs that we have. That we have a program that is a protein bar program for those individuals who are unhoused and hungry, so that they can have that protein when they come to court. They're not disgruntled because they're hungry. They won't tell you about the interpreter program, where I've created 2 interpreter calendars for those that are not English speaking to be able to have the interpreters on site, 2 Spanish, 2 Hmong, at both of those hearings twice a month, what we have. So, speaking out in those ways, showing up, and then letting people know that I came in office in COVID. There was a backlog before I hit the door. That I have been able to accomplish what I said I was going to accomplish when I was campaigning, by bringing in the community court. The changes that I said needed to be made are being made, but it's up against a system that is built to not change. That revolving door, the codes that the city council votes in, the camping, the bringing back the possession, and the number of charges that we see on trespassing. That's what we're seeing. All of these are poverty issues, mental health issues. We're seeing still in my court where the prosecutor still prosecutes a driving while license suspended in the 3rd degree. Other communities have stopped doing that, but they won't stop. And I get pushback because I say, I'm not going to keep a person on 24 months of jurisdiction for a crime that they could only face 90 days in jail.
make it make sense.
How much money is that costing the system? It's a crime of poverty. What we're seeing in our community in which I live, I've been here 30 plus years, I'm invested. You have people that don't live in our community making decisions for our community. You've got city council members that speak specifically for their district. Not for the entire city. There's power in the vote. That's this November and this November. Power in the vote. Let's play some Jeopardy. And I also want to remind everyone that we have t-shirts. You haven't got your t-shirt, go to the t-shirt table, go over to the Kids and Health District table, get some snacks, and let's get in our teams. How many teams do we have? How many teams for Jeopardy? Let's see. We got 1, 2, majority team. Let's see. I don't want anyone by themselves. So let's get some teams. Let's get some teams. Okay, let's see. Teams. Did you guys finish your bingo? Did you black out? Did you get a gift? Let's see.
T-shirts?
Right. Okay. Let's see. I think I'm gonna just have to bring you guys up into the room. So we could go this side of the room, the next side of the room. Okay. I think I put 3 teams out. So the third team will be the adults in the back. Let's see. Okay. Let's see where we are. Okay. Juvenile justice, interactions with police, offenses continued, juvenile records. Okay, so we have the green, the green, and the green. So we got the lion green, the tiger green, the eagle green. Okay, and I'm gonna have you pick, just like on TV, which one do you want? Juvenile justice? We will go with the green team at this table. Which one do you want? Juvenile justice 500. Who can you try it as an adult? You know this. An 18-year-old accused of shoplifting, a 15-year-old accused of first-degree assault, a 16-year-old accused of second-degree robbery, with 2 prior second-degree assaults on their record. All of the above, none of the above. All right, I'm looking for hands, Ooh. table. Let's see. I'm gonna have to have it on my phone. She said, all of the above. It's just like TV. Like TV. So I submitted it. So you guys got 5 points. That's the correct answer. You get your 5 points? Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see. Now for the great team. We got over here for the great team. And I gotta push the arrow. Okay. And what does the great team do? Which one do you want? Which category? Offenses 500. All right. Okay. I need one of those like clickers. Yes. I need to get fast. Okay, he said offenses. Just continue. Okay. Okay. This question is: your friends get challenged to race cars down an empty street, empty city street. You tell him to do it. And film it. You post the video to your Instagram story. Can you be charged with any crime? The selections are: yes, you can get charged with reckless driving. No, because you were not even inside the car. No, since the cops didn't see it happen. Everyone got away with it. Okay. You guys are huddling? Are you playing? Okay. Are you sure something playing? Are you playing? Do you want to huddle? Let's see. It's all one team, so yes, we're okay. So let's see. You believe it's C? Is that you know it's not C? Okay. Uh-oh. All right. You guys got this. Huddle together and come up with the selection that you want me to make on your behalf. You can't steal. It's their turn. Now, if they answer wrong, then you can get to steal. Okay. The consensus is that it's A. I'm selecting A. We're submitting 500 points. Okay. Now we have the Green Eagle team. So the Green Eagle team is everybody else in the room. Come on now. Y'all get together. Got some adults back there. We got some NAACP people there talking. We got Erica. Okay, you guys get to have fun too. Which one do you want to pick? That's not it. I have to choose at the same time. Let's see. You'll select for the okay. Which one do you want? Interactions with police. When does an officer have a right of? When does an officer have to read you your rights? Anytime they talk to you? Anytime they put cuffs on you? Only if they question you while you are in custody. You wanna huddle with you guys wanna huddle together? Okay. Kristen just said. Wait, What's your address? Let me see. Yes, it goes to you. So this green, the green tea can still, if you know that. So I will comment on this one because in a normal world, the average person is going to believe that once they have cuffs on, that they're under arrest. When you have cuffs on you, they consider you detained, but not under arrest. So that's why your action was a beat. But the average person would believe that. So it's when they take you into custody, it's the custody word that is put into the reports that bring that extra component. So, all right, it's the great. We're coming back over here. Where the boys at? Where the boys at? They done ran away. Where the boys at? Hey, boys! Where the boys go? All right, you get fit. You get fit. Yes, you get for. Which one do you? Juvenile justice, interactions with police, offenses continue, or juvenile rights? Okay, which one do you finish the dollar now? 500? Hey, y'all ain't playing around. Y'all go straight to the kicker. You know what I'm saying? $7. You are driving a car full of friends. One spots someone from another neighborhood who shouldn't be in the area. To scare them, your friend pulls out a gun and shoots him. A passerby is killed by the accident. What could happen? Your friend can only be charged with attempted murder because he didn't mean to kill anyone. Only your friend can be charged with murder. You can be charged with murder. You can't be charged because you didn't pull the trigger. That's a game show. That's like the thriller. All right, that's what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? You think it's C? Consensus? Everybody agree? Okay, let's take a vote. Who thinks it's A? Okay, who thinks it's A? Who thinks it's A? Who thinks it's A? Okay, I got two saying two against one. The two outvoted the one, and that was correct. Okay, so let's see. All right, okay. All right, right now we got a tie between the green team and the gray team. All right, Glenn, your team gets to come back. We get to come back now. Which one you want? Okay. When you seal your juvenile court record, all juvenile court records are automatically sealed when you turn 18. It will depend on the type of case. You can never seal any court record. All righty, B it is. Woo! They got the 500, they coming back. Okay, next is the green tulip. Which one do you want? Okay. A juvenile court adjudication for possessing marijuana can impact your ability to get or keep your driver's license, your parents' ability to stay in public housing, your ability to go to school, all of the above, none of the above. All right, Noah, what you got? What you got, Noah? What you got? What you got, Noah? You guys didn't tell Noah, come up and help the team. Help Noah, come help the team. Help Noah, tell him. D, gotcha. All the teams, here we go. All right. All of the above that can impact so many areas of your life just by possession of marijuana. In juvenile court, when they're deciding what happens to you in your case, they call it adjudication. And the judge is thinking, and you're in that whatever's happening is going to be dealt with in court. That's adjudicated. All right. Okay. We're going back to the ring. What we got? Which one do you want? Offenses for 400. Trade 13 posts a snap of him and lover. 17. Having sex. Okay. You take a screenshot of it and text it to your friend. Who can be charged? Trade for posting the snap. Lover for having sex with trade. You for texting your friend. All the above. No one, because everyone is under 18. Okay, we have a consensus that is D. Everybody believes it's D. D, okay.
How you doing?
All right. Back into the what you got? Okay. Once your case is in court, who is the only person that can press or drop charges against a juvenile? Your parent, your guardian, the police, the prosecutor, the victim. Bingo. Lynn says she got her groove now. Okay, I got the green team. What do we got? Which one do you want to pick? Juvenile justice, interactions with police, offenses continue, juvenile records. Alrighty. You are hanging out with a friend while he sells someone weed. The buyer runs off without paying. So you and your friend jump him and take his money. What could you be charged with? Illegal distribution of weed, only robbery because weed is illegal. Illegal distribution of weed and robbery? Nothing. He stole the weed first. All right. Okay. All right, you guys, hold on. guys got a huddle and figure out which one you wanna pick. A, B, C, or D. That's the consensus for the team. I'm the moderator, I can't answer your question. I'm like, what, Pam? I answer the questions after. Okay, so the consensus is, all right. Okay. Okay. Bingo. Man. We are back to the green team. Which one do you want?
Nope.
Interaction with police or not?
It's not a C connection?
If you see a police stop, are you allowed to film it? No. Recording police while they work is a crime. Yes, you can always report the police. Yes, as long as you don't interfere with the officer's work. A, B, or C? Which one? You guys got them figure out which one. I just want one. We only can take one answer. Only one answer. And what's the answer? You got it. Bingo. I should say tree. Okay. All right.
Sure, I these cords that he has that he doesn't have. I'm surprised he doesn't have a charger here.
Can a male officer pat down a girl? A or B? Can a male officer pat down a girl?
Only when a female officer is not available, maybe?
Yes, because so in the time of, it depends on the circumstances. If they're arresting in that moment in time, no. Because the officer has to make sure that when they put them in their police car, that there's no weapons, things like that. But if you're talking about at the juvenile facility, then yes. When it comes to that, you can't make that request. Okay, all right. We are back to the green lion team. All right, which one do you want? Juvenile Justice 300. Okay. Which of the following is true about juvenile court? You can't get time in juvenile court. Juveniles can only go to juvenile court, not adult court. You can be sentenced to a secure facility until you turn 25. Trick question. None of these are true. We're huddling. What are the thoughts? What are the thoughts? Do we have a consensus? I don't know. I think they're still talking. They're still talking. Question of the hour right now. That is the question. Okay, if we can have those that are in the back, the kids that are in the back, not sit on the bleachers, but at the tables. Let's come over to the table area. You guys got a spokesman. Okay. And then we gotta answer y'all all voted.
In the words of the Holy Bible, see.
Woo! Okay. We're gonna go here. Next, I'm gonna put y'all on time. Good job in coming to a consensus and getting the right answer. Because that great team, they was ready still. They trying to get the points. All right, which one do you want? Offenses 300. After your classmate sees your post, the DMs, let's read that again. After your classmate sees your post, he DMs you to show up with your crew for a fight. At the meetup, you push him to the ground. Your friend pulls a knife and stabs one of his friends. What can you be charged with? A, fourth-degree assault for pushing someone. B, first-degree assault for stabbing someone. C, both A and B. D, nothing because you all plan to fight. All right, they're gonna huddle. They're huddling. All teams huddle. Huddle. We got all teams huddling. Okay. All right. Okay. And I get they're still talking. They're still talking. Okay. Wait, coming up.
Unfortunately, I can't stay. Sorry. If she wants to, if we can do a Zoom call or something, I got y'all.
Alicia, nice to meet you. Andre, nice to meet you. The girl version.
Yes, yeah.
All right.
What's going on?
It's getting tough around here. It's getting tough. Their answer is B. Okay. Lynn is the steal. So let me explain something here. So you said you pushed someone before, but you've never gotten in trouble. Any unwanted touch is an assault, whether or not you're charged with it. Any unwanted touch. Any. Okay. Okay. Remember, I said I would only comment afterwards. Okay. All right. Okay. All righty. And what happens is if there's a felony committed and you're around, you can be charged with a felony too. Okay. Green team, which one do you want? Kayla pulls up in a car you don't recognize and tells you she's gonna bring it back before anyone notices. You hop in. The car was reported stolen. What could happen to you? A, you can't get charged with anything because you didn't steal it. B, you could be charged with taking motor vehicle without permission. C, Kayla can be charged as long as she returns the car to the owner. Is everybody believing that it's B? That sounds like B. All right. Okay. Yep. You're in the vehicle, so you can be charged too. Yep. And, okay, going back to the green team. Which one would you like? Offense is 200. You post a photo of yourself flashing an airsoft gun that looks like a real gun on Instagram. Tagging a classmate with the caption, "Got you in my sights. Could you be charged for the crime?" A, no, you have the right to free speech. B, no, as long as you don't actually hurt the person. C, no, because it's not a real gun. D, yes, harassment. All right. Which one did you? D. Good answer. People just can't go around saying anything with free speech. Okay. That was a sign. You're up. All right. Ben's trying to close that gap. You have been adjudicated for an assault. How should you answer the question? Have you ever been convicted of a crime? Okay. Do we have a consensus? We've got a consensus. We've consulted in the room. And the consensus is A. Okay. I didn't mean to do that. So, Lynn, what was your first answer? You didn't say yes the first time. Thank you. Bitch, you say yes. Well, you've been adjudicated for an assault. How should you answer the question? Have you ever been convicted of a crime? Okay, so going to show you what this one says. So, those points went to the green team, but the green team picked C. No, you don't. I'm gonna take them away. But we're doing this all in the fun. Okay, so let's go. But Lynn, your rationale was correct. Okay. They talked you out of it. Your team got you in trouble. Okay. Great team. Interactions with police, 200. Does an officer need a warrant to pat you down? A, yes. B, no, police can pat you down anytime they want. C, no, but they must reasonably suspect you have it with them. A, B, or C? Great answer. All right. Okay. Now we're gonna go back. Lynn, you get another chance. Okay. Let's see. Offenses continue, 200. Mike asks you to let him know if anyone is coming while he climbs through the open window of a house. You stand outside until Mike comes out, empty-handed, and then leave with him. What can you be charged with? Okay. Final answer? Now, I also understand just because you're charged with something doesn't mean that you will be convicted of something, or that, because there's a couple of phases that you have to remember you're in. You're in a phase where the law enforcement officer is arresting you and maybe setting bail and they take you in, but then from there it gets to be reviewed by the prosecutors. So you could be arrested for one thing, but the final charging document could be something different. Okay. And then, okay. Which of the following is true about felonies? Okay, this one gets a little tougher. Maybe not. Felonies include only violent crimes. Felonies are the only crimes you can get time for. Felonies can include property damage, drug offenses, and violent crimes. Which of the following is true? Consensus? A, B, C. Consensus? Okay. I hear someone else saying C too. Okay. Okay. Somebody's a little competitive. Okay, and Gracie, which one do you want? Okay. If you only have a juvenile court record, but it has not been sealed, what could come back on an juvenile records are private. B, every case and its outcome. B. Correct. And the key here is, it has not been sealed. All right, coming around on $100. Which one do you want? Okay. If an officer asks you your name, but you don't understand why they need it, what is the first thing you should do? A, shout. Y. B, remain calm and respectful. C, run. D, this will never happen. The police can't speak to you without your parent or guardian. C. Y'all need to look. Y'all need to look. Under every letter, I think. Under every letter. It says, if an officer asks you your name, but you don't understand why they need it, what is the first thing you should do? Identifying yourself is not considered a question. There's another part that we're gonna do in closing that I'm out of. So, back to the reading. Which one you want? Juvenile justice, offenses continue, or juvenile records? A girl you have issues with is filming and taunting you while you walk home and says she is streaming it live to TikTok. You push her out of the way and smack the phone out of her hand. What could happen? A, nothing if you are both minors. B, this is self-defense, so you can't get in trouble. C, you could be charged with an assault. What you got? Hello, turn around. Interact with your teammates. Okay, what's your team saying? You can see. Right answer. Do you understand why it's not self-defense? Go ahead. It says you push her out of the way and smack the phone out of her hand. You're committing an assault. She has touched you. Remember, I said any unwanted touch is an assault. Great team. Okay. Fences continue. You are riding in the backseat of your friend's car. The cops pull it over and find a gun under the front passenger seat. Who could be charged with possessing the gun? A, no one, because it's not on anyone. B, everyone in the car. C, only the person in the front passenger seat. D, only the driver. It's good. I'll read it again. You are riding in the backseat of your friend's car. The cops pull it over and find a gun under the front passenger seat. Who could be charged with possessing the gun? A, B, C, or D? A, no one, because it was not on anyone. B, everyone in the car. C, only the person in the front passenger seat. D, only the driver. Lynn, so D, he said only the driver. Which one do you think? So he selected D. No, let's see. That one didn't buzz either. Let's see. Nope, it's not B or D. He's stuck. He's stuck. Hold on. That's two. Okay. Let's see. You said you think it's everyone. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Sorry.
All right, we got two left. Okay. Juvenile justice or juvenile records? What is the youngest age you can be arrested in Washington? 8, 13, 18, any age. Probably should huddle. Let's huddle. He on the other team. Look, he on the other team. Can't be giving out answers to the other team. Listen. That's which team are you on? You only got one answer. You should have waited for your team. 13 is wrong. All right, I'm giving it to the break. What you got? I told you to break for your team. And you said 13. Okay. You still winning. It's okay. But teamwork makes the dream work. Teamwork makes the dream work. Which one? This one here? Okay. All right, I'm going back to explain. Trying to explain. Okay. All right. So the question is, what is the youngest age you can be arrested in Washington? So Washington has set a minimum age in which they can arrest you, and that is 8 years old. So if you're under 8, they can't place you under arrest. Yes, the arson. So it's set by statute, the age of 8. So there are times when it acts for exceptions, but the minimum age is 8. And yes, the child can. It depends. That's one of the it depends situations on the actual crime. Yes. Now, this question is for your team. Juvenile records. You get the last question. In juvenile court, if a judge finds you violated the law, you have been convicted or adjudicated. Okay, so great job. We've made it through. And green team, even less the points, the 300 points are still at 2,700. Gray team is at 2,500, and the Green Eagle team is at 2,000. Final category. Okay. This is that. This lets you know you want to wage. This is a wager covering. Wager. A cop is arresting you for malicious mischief after you were caught tagging a building. While he is cuffing you, you pull away and the cop grabs your arm. You smack the officer hand away. What can you be charged with? Green team, huddle and get your answer ready. Malicious mischief only because you were already under arrest before anything else happened. B, malicious mischief and third-degree assault. C, malicious mischief and resisting arrest. D, malicious mischief, third-degree assault, and resisting arrest. A, B, C, or D. Don't be cheating. Don't be cheating. Don't be cheating. Don't be cheating. This is the final category. All right, you guys need to huddle. We got a whole team up there. You're gonna get yourself in trouble again. Say good trouble. All right, do we have consensus? Okay, what's the answer? Great team, what do you think the answer is? A, malicious mischief only because you were already under arrest before anything else happened. B, malicious mischief and third-degree assault. C, malicious mischief and resisting arrest. They picked B and that went around. What do we think? What do we think? Okay, I am hearing B from the Tigers. Listen to the question though. A cop is arresting you for malicious mischief after you were caught tagging a building. While he is cuffing you, you pull away and the cop grabs your arm. You smack the officer's hand away. What can you be charged with? Green team here. Oh. Here. Okay. This is the final question, right? So, I'm gonna get you guys will get me. So all of you get to select an answer because it's the final question. You're wagering on what your final answer is. So you could pick the same answer. So my bad. It's the final. I keep forgetting how Jeopardy plays. So in that final category, you all get to wager money, and then and then in the end, it's gonna give us the answer. So they picked D. You guys picked B. Which one do you want? You're gonna go with D. And if you intended to go with D, I'll figure out the math. You want to be? Okay. So then it tells us D is the answer, and so then what it does is calculate points, but then you guys should have this. Yay! Okay. All right. So our final part for today, we're going to be wrapping up. If you look inside your bags, there's a little trifold handout. And that trifold blue handout is a part of the Strategies and Youth program too. It's a little folded card. It's a little bitty. It's a little bitty trifold. Yes. If you don't have one, I'm going to get you one. If you don't have one, I'm going to get you one. Okay. I got those. That's okay. I didn't give it to you. Because it was in this box that I was looking for. Okay. This is the Be Smart with Police Strategies little triangle. Okay, if you could raise your hand and let me know. Yes. If you didn't get, some of them have them in their bags because I stuffed some bags. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you did not receive a Strategies for you, Be Smart with Police, little one. So, if you don't have one of those in your bags, we're gonna get you one. Okay? And so we have the Be Smart with Police. And some of the things that we were discussing, this little handout is a little tool, and it gives you the don'ts, and then it gives you 2 do's. There's more don'ts than do's. I don't think he had one in his bag. It's okay to get one. Yeah, you have a bag. He didn't get that. Everybody get a bag and everybody get a t-shirt. Adults and members. Make sure we get t-shirts. So if you open it up, it tells you don't keep your hands in your pocket and don't make quick moves. Don't touch a police officer. Don't speak on your phone. Don't question or mock or assume one of the things that it said is, you don't know why the police officers asked your name. This is telling you, you don't want to question a police officer. That's a don't. And don't get in an officer's face. Do be polite. Do know your address. Do face the officer and look at them. And so that's a little interactive there as a tool and a resource. Feel free to share that information with friends. And I have a little form I'll have you fill out. Any questions for me? I was hoping to have timed this where we're going to end exactly at 2. T-shirt times, allowing times for questions for me if you have any, and then filling out the questionnaire. There's a survey. Yeah, there's a survey that I would like for you to fill out, and I'm going to pass that out to you. Okay. Any other questions? All right. So, no, has somebody.
People about gun violence and that thing.
Hi, my name is Antoinette Atkins. I'm Noah's mom. I wasn't planning on talking, but I do have flyers working with an organization called Way Out Kids, doing fire safety education. And I'm going to say 2 years ago, I was driving home, minding my business, trying to sew curtains, and I was actually shot at by teenagers randomly. Which resulted the next day with these teenagers taking the life of an innocent 14-year-old in Tacoma. And so the campaign that Way Out Kids is providing our community right now is to educate not only kids on gun violence and firearm safety, but also to help parents who do have firearms put stickers and teach their kids like what that sticker means and to stay away from firearms, but also if you see firearms, that you actually know the proper protocol. So I do have some flyers and some stickers and brochures. It's a whole campaign, we just started it. If you want to know more about it, the flyers that Noah is giving out, you can learn about it online, and there will be other events in the community. Thank you.
So we're passing around a survey for you to complete for the adults and the children who are here today. This is feedback for strategies of youth and be feedback for us. And the green team, you're able to go over to the did anybody else get bingo? Did anybody else? Oh. Okay. So the green team is able to go over to the gifts table over here and pick an item from the table. From the table. Markers to the flyer. It doesn't work. But you're supplies. school supplies. You really don't, it's just selling school supplies. They want the backpack, give me the backpack. It's just the school supplies. So, yeah. And let's see. You get to say hi to the artists from the table, because she was part of the painting, so, and then come back and finish your survey. There's, it takes one there.
Somebody said that they went to look for.
Say what?
They went to look for. They went to look for the thing on Facebook and they couldn't find it.
Well, if I can bring it up on mine, it should be fine.
I am asking if you don't mind putting your name on the strategies, the survey, only for my purposes. I would appreciate it. Did all of the people from the green team get their prizes? Did everyone get a prize? Did everyone get some? Did you get something from the table? Let's get something from the table. Yes, thank you. Let's make sure we get something, and you can take this poster. It's for you. All right, and the posters on the table, you can take with you. So the posters you can take with you, those are from the Washington State Minority and Justice Commission University. So there's.
What is that called? The QR? The little barcode thing that you go like that, scan, and it comes up. Is that what it's called? You done?
So if I can have my lead sisters gather up these surveys, and then we want to gather for a picture too. Yes. Yes. So if you haven't had a chance to get a T-shirt or get an item from the giveaway table, you're welcome to get an item from the giveaway table at this time. So. So we want to make sure we get the rest, pick an item from the giveaway table, and then we're gonna do some pictures.
Yeah.
Let's do some pictures.
Yes.
Pictures.
You like
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
So I wanted to say to our audience that has been with us for the live stream, thank you for being with us here today. This is our second annual Youth and Law. So we will be back again next year for our third annual. So we are building on this again next year, and it's that we will be doing a dedication and naming it the Marks Robinson Youth and Law. This was a vision that me and him were able to talk about before he passed away. It's something that I knew he was passionate about, just as much as I am passionate about it now. So next year, we'll be our third year, we will have it bigger and better, and special dedication. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Oh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
One last thing, we have, what do we have here? My name is Stephanie Redress. I'm the Vice President of the Reform Chapter of Nixon Incorporated. We're an organization, an international organization that was established in 1946, and our mission is to bring cultural and educational awareness to African American community. We are so pleased to be here to support our late sister, Judge Tracy Flood, in this wonderful youth and law and so something for continuing to follow our mission and to educate our community.
Where am I?
So thank you so very much. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Have a blessed day.